2 years before Ghostbusters came out, I would have been 12 years old and in the sixth grade. And I had a teacher named Sam Brewer. And in my memory, he's this giant of a man, wide and tall and powerful and intelligent and possessed of a really great personality. His repeated phrase was, as sure as God made little green apples. And he would work it into conversation at least once a day, it felt like. Now, the weird thing is, much later in his life, at my work, I met Mr. Brewer, and he was tiny. I don't think of myself as a large person. I stand 5'8" on a good day. That's like with my shoes on. But I was taller than him. I was bigger than him. And I thought, okay, I don't think I've grown that much that I'm bigger than the giants. Maybe he also shrank while I was growing. But it was really disconcerting. And I've had that moment with bump into one of the football players from high school, and he's now shorter than me. And I'm just like, what? You were this gargantuan thing. Now, in sixth grade, we all had to do a science project. And I remember multiple people in the class that year deciding to do a volcano, where they would take some modeling clay and they'd put some baking soda in there and they'd pour in the vinegar and it would foam and bubble and release carbon dioxide. So many people did that I decided I was going to be different and I was going to make an earthquake. Yes. So I fashioned it all out of cardboard, and it was held together with masking tape, and when you pulled a thing, then the pieces would boom and dump the sand in. Unfortunately, after I built it, overnight, the sand worked its way into the masking tape, and by the time it was transported in a car to school, the whole thing fell apart. Mr. Brewer was very forgiving of this, as he was with me on numerous occasions. But I guess sometimes building those models, it never really leaves you. So when Johnny Lightning brought out this Ghostbusters Attack of Mr. Stay Puft set, I was like, I gotta have that. It's got the police car in it. It's got the Ghostbusters in it. How perfect. I don't even think I noticed at first that was the Ecto 1A. But it was that police car, that dumb, inaccurate police car, that really made me want to do a Ghostbusters diorama where it's sinking into the street. I didn't do it. I dragged my feet. Finally, I opened one of these and I posted pictures on Facebook, and I mentioned that I wanted to do that. And in conversation with Derek Osborne, I brought this up to him and I showed him the photo of what I thought it would look like. He said, "Oh, this might interest you."
And now that I've got the graphics from the blueprint to cut to, let's look at one final quote from Cinefx. Later, the sequence would be completed at the Columbia Ranch in Burbank, where a full-size mock-up of the building's first-floor entrance was constructed. In front of this, a large hole was dug where the street would collapse under the Ghostbusters' feet. Chuck Gasper says, "The hole was covered with a series of wooden panels, cut into the shapes of broken pieces of the asphalt street. Each panel was on a metal frame, which was operated by 2 hydraulic cylinders. In all, 20 cylinders were used to move the ground up and down. The panels were painted black and positioned so each could move freely without binding on any of the others. Then we filled the gaps between them with pieces of hard black styrofoam, and covered those with a soft liquid foam that would blend the street together. The styrofoam was needed not only to provide support for the soft liquid foam, but also to simulate asphalt breaking up when the street started to crack apart. An escape trench was built into the hole to ensure that the stunt doubles could not get trapped, and as a further safety precaution, the man operating the hydraulics that dropped them and the police car positioned on the street was also in the hole so that he could watch and make certain that no one got caught up by accident."
Now there's a note on here that says, "Columbia Ranch only, above structural sketches for reference only. Actual fabrication design by special effects." So this is not exactly correct to what they finally wound up building. But as a starting point, it was phenomenal. So first thing I did was put this image on my computer screen, hold up a little police car until it matched this rectangle right here, and I said, okay, this is my size, and I printed it out. Later I realized I could have just shrunk the grid until it matched 1/64th scale, and that would have worked too. So my street pieces aren't quite exactly the right size.
And now you may finally understand why I entitled this video Sneak Preview back in May of 2022.
Ghostbusters came out when I was 14 years old. But when I was 12, 2 years earlier, I don't have to say 2 years earlier. You can do the math. I'm sorry.